astitvaṁ etu paśyanti nāstitvaṁ cālpa-buddhayaḥ bhāvānāṁ tena paśyanti draṣṭavyopaśamaṁ śivam.
Astitvaṁ etu paśyanti nāstitvaṁ cālpa-buddhayaḥ bhāvānāṁ tena paśyanti draṣṭavyopaśamaṁ śivam. MMK chapter 5 verse 8, concluding verse. But people of meagre understanding, who see the existence and the non-existence of things, do not look into cessation of objects to be seen, into happiness. So I just call this verse the concluding verse of chapter 5. But reading between the lines or reading below the surface, the point might be exactly that in exploring the elements, in exploring space in particular, in space exploration, there isn't a conclusion. Exploring something is looking into it, isn't it? And seeing something is kind of the end of looking at something. And so, when I translated this 2 years ago, it was more conclusive. And now I hope the translations become more exploratory. So it depends on the word paśyanti. Do you translate paśyanti as see or look into? I mean, other translations are possible as well. Realize and examine, experience. We considered that in the context of chapter 3, exploration of the sense spheres, beginning with darshan, beginning with looking into or seeing or realizing or meeting or interviewing. So in the first line, we talk the first line plus bhāvānāṁ in the second line. It's a description of cālpa-buddhayaḥ. So alpa means small, little, and the buddhi means it's cognate with Buddha, one who's awakened, one who knows. So from the root bod, to be awake. So buddhi means intelligence, wisdom, understanding. So cālpa-buddhi means of little intelligence. The dictionary, the 3 words given in the dictionary for cālpa-buddhi, the Sanskrit English dictionary by Monia Williams, is weak-minded, unwise, silly. So the weak-minded is certainly a more concise translation than people of meagre understanding, as I've translated it. The weak-minded, the unwise, the silly. But why I preferred meagre understanding on reflection is that to call somebody weak-minded is sort of condemn them in a non-empty way, isn't it? You know, if you're weak-minded, it doesn't suggest much hope of you becoming wise or enlightened or anything other than weak-minded. Same with unwise or silly. So I was just discussing it in relation to verse 7. Am I an inveterate endgainer, inveterate worrier, or do I have a choice? Always have a choice, you know, whether I endgain or not. Well, those are the 2 views, and thanks to the Buddha, we can explore space. We can enjoy sitting in zazen as space exploration, because the Buddha was one who really did understand. We can enjoy space exploration as beyond thing and absence, as beyond a target and an act of aiming. So when we're exploring space in Zazen, it's not that space is the target in any sense, because there is no self-existing separate target. And it's not even that our act of aiming forward and up, head forward and up. So there's an act of aiming there, but that isn't space either. There is no act of aiming. There is no separate act of aiming. It's all one bloody great muddle of a happening, an empty happening. That's the point. It's not. It doesn't correspond to how we think about space. So there's no way we're going to understand what space is. We can explore space, or there can be space exploration as an empty happening. That's probably a better way of putting it. Thanks to the Buddha, that's possible. Thanks to him, Tasmat. But to people of meagre understanding, cālpa-buddhayaḥ, so that's nominative masculine plural of cālpa-buddhi. So buddhi is actually feminine, but cālpa-buddhayaḥ describes masculine plural entities, so people, but it could be men of meagre understanding. Might sound better, men of meagre understanding. Two, but who, ye, as in the previous verse, ye, whoever, whichever, who, see paśyanti, so ye paśyanti, who see. So here, paśyanti, third person plural, to see, better translated as see, because these are end gainers who see astitvaṁ, existence. So asti means it is, and tavam means ness. So astitvaṁ means isness or it isness, and that is exactly the word. Well, it's not exactly the word. It's the Pali in the Buddha's teaching of Katyayana, which we haven't got in Sanskrit. That sutta, we have got it in Pali. In that sutta, the Buddha talks of atita and natita, and atita in Pali is astitva in Sanskrit. So in this case, astitvaṁ is accusative singular neuter, astitvaṁ, and so it means existence. Asti, it exists. Astitva, it existness, so existence. And its antonym is nāstitvaṁ. So na plus asti, nasti means it does not exist, it is not there. Nāstitvaṁ, non-existence. So, and that existence and non-existence is bhāvānāṁ. The beginning of the third pada. Bhāvānāṁ is genitive plural of bhava. So bhava means existence or existent thing or thing. So bhāvānāṁ, of things. Astitvaṁ ye tu paśyanti, nāstitvaṁ cālpa-buddhayaḥ, bhāvānāṁ. But to people of meagre understanding, cālpa-buddhayaḥ, who see, ye, paśyanti, the existence, astitvaṁ, and cha, so that's gone to, with Sandy, cha, cālpa-buddhayaḥ is cālpa-buddhayaḥ, the non-existence, nāstitvaṁ, so and the non-existence, nāstitvaṁ cha, of things, bhāvānāṁ. They, te, na paśyanti, do not see, do not look into. I've translated it look into. cessation, upashama, of objects to be seen, draṣṭavyopaśamaṁ. So draṣṭavya means to be seen, hence object to be seen, and it's in a compound with upashama, so draṣṭavyopaśamaṁ. So that is upashama would be masculine, would be accusative masculine. Draṣṭavyopaśamaṁ, the cessation of the to be seen, the cessation of objects to be seen. Draṣṭavya could be singular or plural because it's in a compound, so it could be either. Draṣṭavyopaśamaṁ, accusative. Na paśyanti draṣṭavyopaśamaṁ. They do not see the cessation of objects to be seen. That's how I translated it 2 years ago. But in a sense, in translating it like that and understanding like that, I was manifesting myself as one of those cālpa-buddhayaḥ, men of meagre understanding. Because if you think it's possible to see the cessation of objects to be seen, that's equivalent to seeing enlightenment, really. Seeing dependent arising, seeing the end of endgaining, realizing the end of endgaining. But if we want to realize the end of endgaining, on reflection, isn't that also a kind of endgaining? Tena paśyanti draṣṭavyopaśamaṁ śivam. They do not look into cessation of objects to be seen, into happiness. Śivam, again accusative, the accusative object of the verb paśyanti. So they do not look into happiness. They're making themselves unhappy by their endgaining, by striving unconsciously towards ends which they conceive as non-empty, graspable things because of prapancha, because of spinning things into self-existence, because of spinning goals or ends into self-existence. Okay, rant alert. I was just thinking on that very point this morning about what a bloody mess the whole of society is in. And it traces itself back to prapancha. I mean, in a sense, I've had a ringside seat on it because I was at university from 78 to 81 studying what organisations should pursue in order to be effective. And the conclusion that people at business schools came to is they should pursue maximisation of shareholder value. And as a result of that prapancha, as a result of that seeing the goal of shareholder value as being the important thing, I mean, off on a tangent, but it's exactly the same point. Yesterday I was watching on YouTube old rugby matches, and there was a sending off of. I often like watching referees, especially Nigel Owens. You know, when you watch his top refereeing moments. You know, so he gives somebody a yellow card or a red card, or more likely with Nigel Owens, he just says, "Get on with it." So obviously the algorithms know what sort of stuff I like to watch, and up the suggestion, Eric Miller getting a red card in a provincial game in Ireland, and as the commentator rightly says, he showed his frustration by when the opponent went over the try line, Eric Miller just in full sight, the referee just kicked him in the goalies. And so you look at that, you think, well, how can you defend that? You know, that's, of course you can't. You got a red card and had to march off. But it caused me to reflect that that is the kind of thing which I might easily have done, kicking out in frustration. And of course, snowflakes and the compassionate left would absolutely be horrified. You know, in their compassion, you know, they'd probably like me to be hung, drawn and quartered for that kind of behaviour. But you'd have to actually play rugby and understand how frustration can boil over, especially if your opponent has been niggling you. You know, he might have, the guy that Eric Miller kicked might have done the same to him on the blind side just a few minutes before. So you don't always know the situation, but that's the kind of person, you know, as well as being an inveterate worrier and an inveterate end gainer, a person, as my mother once said, with a nasty streak. It's like, as I was recognising before I started working on these two verses today, I could feel in myself that, come, get fucking on with it, come on, get on, that impatience, you know. So there's something in my nature that's like that. Now, and my wife is totally the opposite. That's how we've managed to stay married for nearly 30 years, because she's the most patient, she's the least impatient person I've ever come across. In fact, incredibly slow to make up her mind on things, which can be frustrating for me at times. But it's like that's in my nature to be like that. So when I look at Eric Miller's bad behaviour, or again, when Zinedine Zidane got sent off in the World Cup final because that bloody Italian pest of a centre half sort of reminded me of James Cohen in some kind of way, a pest, you know, a person who's a pest. And Zinedine Zidane did precisely what I would have liked to have done to Nishijima Sensei's Dharma heirs, who all thought they were on the side of the truth and the side of the right, the righteous, and therefore against me. And what Zinedine Zidane did in that very dramatic moment, he just went up to Materazzi, was his name, the Italian centre half, poof, just dropped the nut on his sternum. Of course, Materazzi, like he'd been hurt much more than he was rolling around, and he got Zidane sent off. And I remember I was writing a blog on Aspergorsa at the time, and I just honestly kind of celebrated that magnificent moment where Zidane had done that. Well, of course, you can imagine that compassionate Buddhists were horrified that I could celebrate such an act of violence, you know. So, again, what would Nagarjuna say about that? If you explore what he's saying here, is he saying one should always be on the side of non-violence and non-engaining and patience and virtuousness? Or, you know, because everything being empty, it's always possible to choose that way of compassion, wisdom and perfection. So that's one view. But the other view is shogunai yatsu. In Japanese, it's shogunai yatsu. Yatsu is a person, or shogunai is a pest, someone who can't be helped. Shikata ga nai, can't be helped. So in some of the Zen koans of Chinese, you'd have a master would throw the table up in the air or something, or do some dramatic gesture like that. And then Nishijima Sensei, when he was giving I used to go to his lectures at the Yanagi Bashi Kaikan in Asakusa Bashi in Tokyo. I used to go and see his lectures when I was taking the dictation of the Shinji Shobogenzo koans. And very nice, another story which I shan't digress into at the moment, about how he forgot that I'd done that. But yeah, his commentary would be, it would kind of acknowledge shogunai yatsu, you know, shikata ga nai yatsu, the kind of person that can't be helped. So that's Japanese kind of realism. Japanese are much less judgmental about things. It's like, well, that's just the way it is. That person is like that. So it's like in the Lotus Sutra it says Nyose So, form as it is. The chapter of Shobogenzo, Shohoji So, all things are real form. It starts off by quoting from the Lotus Sutra. Nyose, nyose, nyose. Something as it is, something as it is, something as it is. Nyose means as it is. Like that, just like that. If you hear the Dalai Lama give a talk, sometimes he'll say, yeah, like that, like that. And it conveys a sense of, well, that's how it is. And there's truth in that. But I think it's true to say that that's true at the conventional level. So if Madre Barlow says, I'm an inveterate worrier, that's true at the level of conventional truth. So in MMK chapter 24, see if I can remember it. Dve satye satyam samupashritya bhāvānāṁ dharma deshana loka samvriti satyam cha paramartataha. So the Dharma teaching of Buddhas rests on two truths. Dve satye. So it's accusative dual, so dve satye, not dve satyam. Dve satye samupashritya. Samupashritya, relying. Relying on two truths. Dve satye samupashritya. Bhāvānāṁ, of Buddhas, genitive plural. Dharma deshana, the Dharma direction, the Dharma instruction, the Dharma teaching of the Buddhas. Loka samvriti satyam cha. So the satyam, the truth of loka samvriti. So everyday worldly convention and conventional truth. And satyam cha paramartataha, and cha, satyam, truth, paramartataha, of paramount meaning, the ultimate truth. So conventionally, it's true to say I'm an inveterate warrior, a terrible endgainer, with a nasty streak, and that's just me as I am. So in that sense, enlightenment is accepting yourself as you are, accepting all things as they are. That's how Nishijima Sensei described his own enlightenment as he conceived it. A moment where he just thought, Koridei, this is good enough. In fact, I think he said that he had that realization while he was putting his pajamas on, just feeling comfortable, and this is it, just like this, I'm satisfied with these things as they are. So there's truth in that at one level, but it's not the ultimate truth. So which view is, what I'm suggesting is that there are two views about it. That's what I've been reflecting the last few hours. You can say, see, Marjorie said both. She said, Mike, you're an inveterate worrier. I know I am too. And she also said, listen, you don't say you're an end gainer. You can choose to gain the end directly or to employ the means whereby as an indirect means of gaining the end. So there are two contradictory views. But thanks to him, Tasmat, thanks to the one who understands, Bhāvānāṁ, who understands the duality of existence and non-existence, thanks to him we can understand the direction to go in. Sarva drishti prahanaya, in the direction of abandoning all views. So exploration is the abandoning of views, isn't it? Space exploration is what you do when you don't know what space is. When you've abandoned a view of space, when you think your previous views, previously you thought you knew what space was, and then suddenly you're not so sure anymore. Then there's dhatu pariksha, exploration of the element, which is ākāṣam, space. So to explore space is to be the one who doesn't know, the one who is not attached to astitvaṁ, it existness, or nāstitvaṁ, it doesn't existness. So if I say I'm an inveterate worrier, then my inveterate worrying is something which exists. And that's the eternity view. I'll never be anything other than an inveterate worrier. And if you say nāstitvaṁ, I'm not an inveterate worrier, well, that's the opposite view. And that's also to be abandoned. So the suggestion is, if we understand it like that śivam, happiness, is not an end to be gained, so much as you might say that true space exploration is happiness. So the happiness is in the exploring. Is that a view? Probably is. Probably is. That's one side. You could say no, happiness is when you actually see it, when you understand it. So looking, exploring, does not negate the possibility of seeing something. Now, didn't the Buddha see something under the Bodhi tree? So that's the alternative view again. So again, what's the answer in the middle way? Always the same. Sarva drishti prahanaya. So that's the ultimate concluding verse of the concluding chapter. And what does it say? Sarva drishti prahanaya. In the direction of abandoning all views. So the conclusion, in that sense, is a non-conclusion, isn't it? The conclusion is a direction, prahanaya, dative, in the direction, towards, for the abandoning of all views. Astitvaṁ yetu paśyanti, nāstitvaṁ cālpa-buddhayaḥ, bhāvānāṁ tena paśyanti, draṣṭavyopaśamaṁ, śivam. But people of meagre understanding, who see the existence and the non-existence of things, do not look into cessation of objects to be seen, into happiness.
astitvaṁ etu paśyanti, nāstitvaṁ cālpa-buddhayaḥ, bhāvānāṁ te na paśyanti, draṣṭavyopaśamaṁ śivam.